This is Living Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 Success System by Adam Vincent Gilmer. My name's Gene Delitis, and I'm your host. Welcome to episode 34. Man, I tell you, that last episode, episode 33, MSIs versus Trading Time for Money, that was a good one. That was one of our best ones ever. Welcome to this episode. We're going to piggyback on what we were talking about in the last episode about different strategies for earning money that has nothing to do with working hard. It's called working smart. Make sure you order your daily planner. It's essential for this free course. Free course. The daily planner is going to cost you about $1 a day, and we can ship it to any of the countries around the world listening. And we have people listening in the Philippines, in Ghana. We have people listening in Italy, the United Kingdom, Canada, the United States. Within the United States, almost all 50 states now. The Czech Republic, Italy, I'm probably forgetting a few. So welcome everybody globally. Now, picking up from our last episode, a very important topic here because it really does piggyback on what we were saying. The great quote is, it's from Jim Rohn. Your worth in the marketplace is based on your ability to add more value than anyone else. Now, when the fantastic Jim Rohn said those words, he didn't say your worth in the marketplace is based on your ability to work really, really hard, long hours and never see your family. He never said that. In fact, Jim Rohn believed in the complete opposite. So let's talk about what does he mean, and what is our philosophy when we say your worth in the marketplace is based on your ability to add more value than anybody else. Let's talk about value and what that is, because that's the trait of a leader.
Awesome. Good morning, good evening. Welcome back again. Glad to be here. Jim Rohn, personal mentor, I actually have done and completed his workshops, weekend workshops. I listen to him regularly online. You can find him on YouTube and other channels. He's fantastic. No longer alive, but he left his mark by helping people realize that personal development of your mindset, of what you're actually thinking about, what your focus is, actually creates value. And by doing so, you become a better person. And I'm going to equate it to real estate really quickly, or any fixer-upper, okay? You know, you decide to buy a home, okay? And let's say the homes are, going in the marketplace for, $400,000 or $500,000, okay? But you find one that is not so good, and it might be worth, 300,000, okay? Now, with a little bit of work, sweat equity, a team coming together, you fix it up. Let's say you're willing to spend between 50, 75, maybe even $100,000 to fix up this property that you purchased for 300. All right. Now you've brought the value of that property up to the $500,000 level, maybe 475 to make it sell faster. Okay. Because, the comps are 500. And you've made that dilapidated, old, you've refurbished it, put some new piping in, got some heat in it, maybe replaced the roof, whatever. And you made it more valuable in the marketplace. And I'm equating that to real estate. Now, there's no way you can go and get that $300,000 home unless tons of properties are selling and do a quick flip on it if you're not making it more valuable, unless the market's just going crazy. Okay, then maybe there's a chance, but that's slipping. Similarly, your brain is like real estate, and what Jim Rohn was really speaking about was you taking in enough knowledge where you as a person becomes more valuable, and by doing so, you've now your place in the marketplace has become more valuable. You've learned something, all right? And that's what he was actually talking about, creating more value. And I always used to think it was about making money, Gene. I said this like so many seminars. If you go back to some of the other episodes, I say the same thing. In my video for promotion, I say I used to think it was about making money because that was the focus. And what I learned was you got to become more valuable in the marketplace. And becoming more
Hmm.
valuable in the marketplace means learning, means doing the books. Behind me, I've got all these, I'm going to say self-help books, but they're books that I have found over time that have helped me grow like a half a point. Okay. I know that doesn't sound like a massive difference, but small little changes done consistently over time makes you very, very valuable. And as a consultant, as a business owner, as a coach, as a mentor, the reasons why I wanted to put together a time management system is so that I could help people reach their goals, their dreams, and help them become more valuable on how they're working, what they're doing with their time. And that's what Jim Rohn was referring to. And now, and it comes down to personal development. And Gene, you've gone, you mentioned Jim Rohn. Not just him. There's, uh, Dennis Waitley, Les Brown, Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Allen, Susie Orsman. There's like a ton of really amazing people that have put out great books because they found a way and they wanted to get people and share that knowledge and information so that they could grow. And that's what's happening. The more that you grow, the more that you plan, organize, get sophisticated about what it is you're doing with your time and what you're taking into your brain, the more valuable you're going to become in the marketplace, and you will earn more money. And that's what Jim Rohn was referring to.
Yeah. What I really like about that whole philosophy is, as we were talking about in episode 33, people working hard, getting a job, trying to make some money. I think when you've gone through a lot of personal development like you have and like I have, really it's about being of service to other people, and it's
Yeah.
about helping other people, because when you can help other people get what they want, then uh, it's just simple math and physics. If you help all these people get what you want, then you're going to be rewarded by whatever you need. And that's a very, very unique thing. So if you think of what we were talking about in the last episode, Adam's got like 200,000 people in one of his businesses in his organization. So we do this free training program. It doesn't cost you anything to come online here. You can go to Spotify or iTunes. Adam just asks, and as do I, to get your daily planner because it's a tool you need. You know what? He's not making any money off the daily planner, trust me. But he's being of service to not just people in his organization. If you're listening in Italy or the UK or Canada or wherever you happen to be, you may not even be in Adam's business, but you're getting this for free because we're trying to help you. And if we never see the fruits of that, we're happy with that too, because we're putting out good energy. We're not in a board meeting stabbing somebody in the back. So tell me about being of service to people and how that is so essential.
Well, all the great religious books talk about this, and Jim Rohn talked about it too. And he said, find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. So let's just take a look at that for 1 second, okay? Let's say you come up with a widget, okay? Smartphone, okay? And let's say you come up with that, okay? I wonder who'd be interested in having a phone. Like, take it. So, was it that Apple, I'm just going to use them as an example. If you have an Android, that's fine too with Windows. But, Apple almost went bankrupt, okay? And I don't know if everybody knows this, but I was talking to another colleague the other day. And do you know who saved Apple? Their number one competitor. Yeah, the gentleman who created Windows, who created Microsoft, okay? He actually wrote a check to keep them in business and got stock for that check. And it kept Apple together. Now, if Bill wanted to, he could have said, that's it, man, I ain't helping you. But you know what he realized? He needed Apple just as much as Apple needed Microsoft in the marketplace in order to create value. Another way of looking is like this, you put one Formula One race car on the circuit and you've got a nice racing car going around. But when you put two, you've got competition. And competition drives each person to push harder, brake later, go faster. And you've got a race, which makes it exciting, which creates energy, which creates value in the race, value for watching that. And then you put, 10 of them, 15 of them, and now and it's just unbelievable. And you got this massive circuit that travels around the world and races every 2 weeks. It's unbelievable what they do. And they spend billions of dollars doing it. So getting back to creating value, you've got to become better in the marketplace. And how do you get better? You get better.
Yes.
You get better with time, like wine. You get better with time. Time is going to go by, whether we like it or not. And it's funny, I got this email the other day, and it actually showed how our planetary system is spinning through the universe, kind of like this, crazy DNA strand, right? And we're not conscious of it because, it goes, sun goes around, sun goes around, sun goes around. And we are a lot of these 24 hours in a day, 86,400 seconds or 168 hours in a week, because we figured out what it takes to go around the sun and what have you. And that's the system that's in place, right? So now let's go back from that. That's like if you're looking from, outside looking to the earth. Well, when you're looking, where most people start every day is where we are now, like they're on the planet. They're not really like looking out into the universe. And the question is if you figured out the iPhone or saying, hey, listen, I think people are going to want to make phone calls and not attached to a landline anymore. Would that be creating value? How many people would want that? Would people like to be mobile? And it just went on. And then you'd say, listen, it went from mobile phones. People say, well, what else can I do on this thing? Okay. Then it became, well, you can take pictures. And you take a look at this great company called Kodak, and who could have been a monster in the digital space. Okay. But refused, like a lot of people listening, you're not going to get a planner. We're giving you all this information for free. And you're like, oh, well, they just want to look here. You spend, it's more than a cup of coffee. Okay. It's getting a cup of coffee on a daily basis is more expensive than this system. Okay. So here's the thing. You're going to create value. And when you create value, when you start to plan and organize your thoughts, your mental energy, you put it down in a place, you get a blueprint for your life. You start doing these things, being brain, body, time, people, money every single day. And I'm telling you, you're going to end up people are going to say, what are you doing? When somebody says, what are you doing? That means they're taking notice of how you have not changed, because that's what everybody says. But like we said on a couple episodes ago, you've grown. When you've grown, you can't, like once your mind has expanded, it can't go back to being this small again. And that's the value that's taking place from taking in knowledge, taking in, the right food, doing the right diet, exercise, managing your time, having a plan, surrounding yourselves with people on the same mission or the same vision that you have, working with like-minded folks, pushing away negative dream stealers, which happen like, oh my gosh, it happens all the time. And you've got to get serious about raising your real estate value in the marketplace. Think about this, when you invent a phone, then all of a sudden now it does email. Okay. And all it does is do that. Now it's a GPS unit. Now it's this, and they added tons more value to the phone, and it does everything. And and by the way, now we have a digital assistant. Okay. I mean, it's just like they keep adding more value to that little thing. And by you taking in this knowledge, you're going to grow as well. And you start getting, as I said, planned, organized, on purpose, and unbelievable things happen in a person's life.
Now, there's another aspect of this, and sometimes people don't talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Part of the daily planner is bringing balance into your life, and people always talk about, I want more balance in my life, but generally they don't know, what balance is. The daily planner takes all these areas of your life, and if you're treating them correctly, you'll be in balance. You won't be out of balance. Now, the quote was, your worth in the marketplace is based on your ability to add more value than anyone else. Now, people think that's about work, but you know what? Adding value is also about your family. I mean, Adam's married. He's got 2 beautiful children. I mean, you could be listening to this and you may have children, a wife, something like that. Maybe you're taking care of your aging parents. Now, here's what I love this story. I'll get you to tell a little bit about it. You know, Adam adds value to people in his organization. On these coaching calls and on these podcasts, we add value to your life. So Adam adds value and keeps his life in balance by adding value to his family. So, you know, we've talked a lot about here in these podcasts how Adam has taught this course live, and we'll be doing that in 2021, the two of us. But you know, he's been around the world teaching this course, and he goes around the world building his business, and he always takes his family. So it got to the point where Adam was called in to have a little discussion with the teachers at his school because they said his son was making up these imaginary stories about all the countries he had been to, and most of the teachers hadn't been to even maybe even 20 or 10% of all the countries that AJ had gone to. So here's a little guy. The value that you've added to his life is he's traveled more and been in more countries than the teachers who were doubting the authenticity of his story. How wild is that? It's a true story too, isn't it?
Absolutely. It was, he goes to a private school. And, look, I understand how, all of us know when we were kids, you know how to embellish something, right? I mean, and listen, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, maybe it's the kids are talking, what have you, the teachers over listening, but long story short, and listen, I love the fact that the teachers are like, hey, we want to have a conference, just talk about it. Because what it does, and it wasn't just that, it was some other things, but that was a good portion of that discussion. But, yes, we've ridden camels. Yes, I mean, I just put up the video. I just reposted the video the other day of us being at the Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people say, well, Jewish, why do you take your family? Let me tell you why. Ready? I believe that you will be dead a lot longer than you've been alive. Okay. So at the end of the day, now that we have this amazing gift, this life, okay, I mean, you can cruise through life any way you want to. I'm going to tell you the way I choose to go. You ready? Hard, furious, push, build, fun. I'm being completely transparent. Yesterday, in our neighborhood, one of my fellow neighbors is having a party. And my wife says, hey, you know what? Listen, I'm going to have some of the girls, neighborhood ladies, come over and we're all getting our makeup done. I was like, great, because I'm in the office. That's what I like to do, and talk about creating value, right? So the girls are coming over here. The husbands are dropping them off, saying hi, what have you. And so I decided, I said, well, look, why don't we play some music? The girls are all upstairs in the room with a big mirror, and they got the makeup chairs out. They're all getting done, and it's at our house. And I said, "Great, ladies, would you like some champagne?" And the girls like, "What, champagne?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, we want mimosa. What would you like?" I said, "I can make a Christmas champagne." They're like, "What's the Christmas champagne?" So I got a nice champagne. I put some peppermint schnapps. It turns green. There's red 1, 2 for every. So I got red and green champagne now, right? And what I'm showing you is we're adding value to the scenario, and you pack into your life as much as you can. You squeeze it together to get the most you can out of the time, out of the minute, out of the hour, and you've created amazing value. So just so you know, we also had a party last night, and just so you know, everybody in our community has been on lockdown for like 10 months. Okay, so there's no issues with COVID-19 or what have you. Oh, by the way, and just so you know, Gene, I also have this. This here is a instant rapid test for COVID that I licensed. You get the answer in 15 minutes. Now,
Fantastic.
I'm not just it's not a promotion thing. It just comes down to that if somebody was worried, I was like, well, listen, here, we're gonna find out in 15 minutes. Okay. And now this didn't exist 10 months ago. Okay. It's one of the products I sell. It's like people have to start getting your head around how you create value. And by the way, you can make the next minutes and hour and days and year coming up more valuable than the past. And let me tell you how you do that. Little secret. Ready? Start taking in some specialized knowledge. Start working the brain. Okay. Start balancing your life. And just getting back to AJ's story. You know what's great though? is that other kids that come over here and hang out and what have you, for crying out loud, my Hummer has an Xbox in it. Okay. And they come over here, they play video games, they hang out, and the parents are like, well, you know, you're going to your home in Tahoe, this, something like. I'm like, look, what are you going to do? How can we leave a mark? How can we create more value in our kids' lives so that when I'm not here anymore and AJ has his family or my daughter has her family, okay, moving forward, they can look back and go, wow, my dad pushed and pushed and created as much as we could with this consciousness that we have. And what the shame part of everything, Gene, is that, and this is terrible, but like, I know there's people that'll listen to our show, what have you, they'll hear this particular podcast or, Apple or, Spotify or Instagram, wherever you're getting the information. And you know what's going to happen, Gene? They're not going to take action. They're not going to do anything. And they'll think, oh, it's hard work. I said, you know what's the worst part on the other side of that is? It's not so much that it's hard to do. Let me tell you what the hard thing is to do, is to instill the habitudes that create the value versus showing up in life at, 70, 80, 90 years old and not having a retirement, not having a plan and going, man, I wished I shoulda, I coulda. And that's the sad part for me, is because, we would like to change or help everybody grow. That's why we give away this amazing information. But at the end of the day, the person listening, you have to take the action steps, because Gene and I can't do it for you. We can give you the information, but you've actually got to do something different. And by the way, if you keep doing what you're doing now, you're always going to get the same result. So in order to have growth take place, you have to start doing something different. And maybe that's the hook that we can get you to say, oh, these guys are pretty serious. Let's go do something different together.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think we can end on a really good quote about being of service to people and adding value. And if you're about to shift that paradigm in your own life, you want to really, really consider this quote. And the quote is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And Adam, you know what? When you make that shift in your life, everything starts changing, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So get your daily planner and stand by for episode 35. And I'm just going to warn you, episode 35 is probably going to be the shortest episode that we do in this series. It's called Pity Parties, Blaming Others, and Making Up Excuses Are Not the Trait of a Leader. Like I said, it's not going to be a very long episode. And then we'll move on. Get your daily planner right here at 8020365.com. You're going to need it. It's $1 a day, and it's going to be your GPS for the rest of your life. Thanks, Adam.
Welcome.
That's Adam Vincent Gilmer. Coming up, episode 35 for Living Your Life Well Planned. I'm your host, Gene Velitis.